So let's talk about a guy who was, for a time, on top of the world, a media tycoon, a political powerhouse, a billionaire who literally built a global empire from nothing. But behind all that power was one of the biggest financial scandals in history, and a mystery that all starts with one question.
I mean, think about it. It's November 1991. You've got this incredibly powerful man on his private yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, out in the middle of the ocean. And then, just like that, he's gone. Vanished.
But here's the thing. This wasn't just about one man disappearing. His vanishing act would trigger the complete collapse of everything he built, and in doing so, reveal a devastating secret that would ruin thousands of lives.
To really get how it all came crashing down, we've got to go back to the beginning. Because Robert Maxwell's story didn't start with a silver spoon. It started with, well, absolutely nothing.
What's just wild about this timeline is how fast it all happened. He was born into poverty in Eastern Europe, lost most of his family in the war, and arrives in the UK with nothing to his name. And he just builds. He gets into publishing, buys this small company, Pergamon Press, and uses these relentless, super aggressive tactics to grow it. And by the 80s, boom, he's a media baron, buying up huge newspapers and becoming this massive political player.
And just to give you a sense of how huge this was, we're talking about household names like the Daily Mirror, a major publishing house, media assets all over the planet. This wasn't just about being rich. It was about raw power and influence. At his peak, you would have thought Robert Maxwell was completely untouchable.
But behind this incredible facade of power, the entire empire was built on something incredibly shaky. It was a house of cards, and the foundation was starting to crumble.
This right here, this is the whole game. To the world, he was the powerful tycoon, the picture of success. But in reality, his companies were drowning in a sea of debt, a massive, unsustainable amount. He built the empire by borrowing, and he kept it going by constantly shuffling money between his hundreds of companies, this crazy shell game to hide the problems. The pressure must have been immense.
Which leads to the big question, right? If you're under that much pressure, with that much debt, how on earth do you keep that illusion going for so long?
Well, the answer to that question is where this story goes from risky business to an outright history-making scandal. This is where he crossed the line.
It's honestly as shocking as it is simple. To prop up his failing businesses and cover the debts, Maxwell turned to the one group of people who trusted him most, his own workers. He started secretly siphoning money from them. And he took it from the one place that should have been untouchable, their pension funds. This is the money people put away from every paycheck their entire lives, trusting it will be there for them when they retire. And the amount was just breathtaking, hundreds of millions of pounds. But here's the really cynical part. He didn't just grab the cash. He used the assets in the pension funds, stocks and bonds, as collateral to get these huge, risky loans for his private companies. He was gambling with his employees' retirement to save his own skin. And that pressure cooker is what brings us right back to where we started. It's 1991. The walls are closing in. That financial hole is getting too big to hide. And Robert Maxwell vanishes from his yacht into the sea. His body was found later, but his biggest, darkest secret was still underwater.
Because after he died, everything, and I mean everything, came apart. The illusion he had spent decades building just shattered for the whole world to see.
And to this day, nobody really knows what happened out there. Was it an accident, a slip and fall? Did he jump, unable to face the music? Or was there something else going on? We'll probably never know for sure.
But what we do know is the chaos that came next. As soon as Maxwell was gone, investigators went in, and the truth just poured out. They found the hole in the pension funds, they uncovered the true scale of the debt, and the entire empire just imploded, leaving thousands of loyal employees completely devastated, their life savings just gone.
In a flash, Robert Maxwell's legacy was totally rewritten. The man who had this larger-than-life image, who seemed to have everything, was exposed as the architect of a massive fraud. He went from a powerful billionaire to the poster child for one of the biggest financial scandals ever. So in the end, the story of Robert Maxwell is this incredible tale of ambition and risk, and it leaves you with this really chilling question to think about. Just how thin is that line between the relentless drive to succeed and the kind of ambition that destroys everything in its path?